Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tony Whitbeck. I'm the CEO of Key Management Group. And with me today is Dawn Rem. And Dawn is our Director of Practice Management as well as an Executive Coach. And Dawn is going to be taking you through the majority of today's content, and then I'll wrap up with Q&A at the end of today's session. Before we dive deep into the content, I'd like to share with you just a little bit about what Key Management Group does. So we offer a number of services. The first is our executive coaching service, and this is really designed for the owner of the business. We're going to focus on things such as vision and foundation, personal and professional goals, growth strategies, building your team, and developing your practice value proposition. So we'll spend a lot of time talking about strategy with the business owner. The second area, which is really what we're here to talk about today, is practice management. And practice management is really designed for the entire team. And here we're going to focus more on the operational side of things and the structure of the employees within the business. So we'll focus on roles and responsibilities, the service schedules, how to systematize the client experience, accountability for the staff members, and then we'll leverage our Connect practice management platform. The third service that we offer is outsourcing, and this is really designed to provide you with a service when you don't have the resources internally to do it yourself, or you want to redeploy some of your resources to do other things. So we do client meeting preparation, and we do about 250 client meeting preps per week for advisors across the country. And then we do financial plan production, and we do probably 1,000 financial plans throughout the course of the year. Then finally, our fourth category of services is around acquisition and legacy planning. And here we have a number of services. We have our advisor legacy platform where we help advisors buy and sell practices. We do business valuations. And then we have two turnkey transition or continuity plans. And those are to help protect your practice in the event of death and disability. And for today, we're really going to focus on the practice management piece of our services, really on the operational side and the focus on the team members. So what I'd like to do next is just talk about the difference between a good advisor and salesperson versus a great business owner or leader. So a good salesperson or a good advisor is good at analysis, where a great business owner or leader is good at integration. A great advisor is oftentimes a specialist or an expert. They may be good at retirement plannings or annuities or insurance. And a great business owner needs to be more of a generalist. A great advisor is very good at doing things and oftentimes very tactical, where the business owner needs to be more focused on strategy. A good advisor is very service or people-oriented, and the good business owner or leader has skills at developing people within their organization. A good advisor is a problem solver, where a good business leader is more of an agenda setter. So there was a study that was done by the Harvard Business Review that talked about the difference between someone who basically is an advisor and someone who is a leader. And the example that we're going to use today is the difference between being a bricklayer and being an architect. So when you look at someone moving from being a bricklayer to an architect, oftentimes that bricklayer doesn't really understand how the little decisions impact the entire organization. If you look at a bricklayer moving from a specialist to a generalist, generally they overmanage the functions that they know well because they're tacticians, and they fail to acknowledge or develop the talent on their team. From an analyst to an integrator, they oftentimes overanalyze the minutia rather than integrating the collective knowledge. And a tactician to a strategist means they're focused on the details rather than driving the boat. And the problem solver to the agenda setter, they like to fix problems rather than define problems that are worth fixing. So advisors are oftentimes stuck in this rut. They are the bricklayer and oftentimes will fail to move to become the architect. And so some of the symptoms that occur in the practice is there's lack of role clarity. Staff will feel either under or overutilized. And advisors are oftentimes in the weeds. Promises to clients are being broken. Things are slipping through the cracks. And each day, a new fire needs to be put out. So some of you may be experiencing these things yourself. You may be stuck in that role of the bricklayer and not as the architect. You might find yourself doing more of the work versus acting as the CEO. Well, our practice management services will provide the solution for you to help you get out of being the bricklayer and more to the architect. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to turn it over to Dawn. And Dawn's going to walk you through the rest of today's material, and then I'll follow up with a Q&A. Dawn?
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, just to reintroduce myself, my name is Dawn Rem, and I am the Director of the Practice Management Department here at Key Management Group. And so I'm going to talk to you today about that solution that Tony was referring to. And the first one is practice management can solve those problem areas that Tony was mentioning in 3 ways: through clarity, responsibility, and organization. The clarity is where people in your practice will know exactly what they need to do every day. Responsibility, nothing will fall through the cracks and people are utilized to their maximum potential. And with the organization, every item and every task is accounted for. The advisor becomes the CEO in steering the ship. So what is practice management? How would we define that? Practice management will assist in day-to-day operations by designing a set of roles and responsibilities and model work week for each of your team members. We will work side by side with you and your team through integration and training, holding everyone accountable to the processes that we define. We're going to define every activity so each person knows what specifically is expected of them, hence sealing the cracks. Through the 6 key areas of your financial advisory practice, practice management will primarily focus on 3 of these areas. The first one is team management. Here is where we will define your roles and responsibilities. Put together a job definition for each of your team members. We will work together to create a model work week, and then we will hold your team members accountable to those model work weeks and roles and responsibilities. The second area is the client experience. We refer to the client experience through the scheduling, appointments, the confirmation of those client meetings, the preparation and follow-up, and implementing advice systems. We will work with you to define your preferences and put together an operations manual to define those preferences. Through business tracking, I mentioned you will be tracking. We can see the tasks and the to-dos for yourself and your team. When you submit business, we will track each individual piece of business that you submit to home office. Tracking the trades and reviewing the fees, your financial plans, looking for opportunities, and so much more. If you think about your client experience and the experience that your client goes through your financial advisory practice, the greeting, preparing for the client meeting, holding that meeting, handling all the business from the meeting, and then repeating that same cycle, systemizing the practice so that everyone can run in a consistent cycle, is what we will focus on as we work together. So what is our point of departure? Typically, before, client meetings are set up when clients call, more of a reactive approach. Some items are documented, a lot of details rely on people's memory. Deliverables are just in time. Home office and compliance changes are not integrated until forced. Things are missed, like trades, paperwork, business opportunities, and there are struggles between staff over responsibilities. When we work together, our point of arrival, will be that clients are proactively set up on recurring scheduled 6 months in advance. Every piece of information is systematically recorded and can be retrieved in a predictable place. Deliverables are produced in advance. Changes are integrated seamlessly ahead of time. Everything is tracked, from mail, fees, paperwork, future business opportunities, and more. And everyone knows exactly what they should be doing and is held accountable. So I just talked about the tracking and how you might want to know how we do this. With our proprietary software, Connect, you'll see a few examples here on the screen. Turnkey Solutions is where you're going to find templated best practice systems and processes that we take and customize specific to your practice preferences. Model work weeks, I mentioned, will design and help implement, hold accountable to that work week, along with the roles and responsibilities. The business trackers are referred to some of the tracking that will help hold you accountable for, can be found on Turnkey Solutions, as well as meeting notes. And the meeting notes templates producing summary letters. A typical ongoing schedule consists of weekly and monthly accountability meetings. So here's what you can expect through our practice management service and how we're going to get to that point of arrival. Through weekly meetings, a typical practice would look something like this. 3 team members. Each individual team member is provided a training and accountability meeting on a weekly basis. The entire team would get together and recap the client promises. We hold collaborative learning series classes for the staff, which I'll get to in just a couple minutes. And 15-5 is a weekly online program to improve internal communication, spending 15 minutes a week answering approximately 5 questions that would take a manager 5 minutes to review. The practice management service also includes monthly meetings. For a typical practice, you would have 2 monthly meetings. The team meeting is spent covering your internal processes, reviewing and confirming those workflows that were defined and those practice preferences. This internal meeting is not based on your client promises, but more the internal systems and processes. And the second monthly meeting is a strategic practice management meeting where you can find the communication between your practice and my team, how things are going, what areas of improvements do we see, how we can better assist you. It is that accountability between what we've promised and what your team has been able to accomplish. So I mentioned the Collaborative Learning Series. The Collaborative Learning Series is a weekly online session that are focused on specific topics related to your daily operations. They're topics that staff members find are of interest to them, that they don't often have the time to communicate or collaborate with one another across the country, across the different practices, that they are siloed in a sense, working with one another in the team, but not with other staff members similar in their roles. So this learning series is held with approximately 10 to 20 practices each week. They can sign up on any topic that is of interest to them. You as the advisor can also attend these if interested. And a couple of examples of these topics would be show me the money, or how to track those future assets. Successful juggling, never dropping the ball. how to successfully use those tracking tools that we teach you and hold you accountable to using. An example there would be business processing and those staff tasks that you yourself would like to see. How can the team use that tracker more efficiently and effectively? Team members get to hear from each other and how they've successfully implemented some of the best practice systems and processes that we recommend. The purpose of our service is to get you up and running on your own. Note here that our goal is to teach you, not manage. After the first year, most practices have fully integrated the entire system and begin seeing all of the benefits of their teamwork. So I thought that sharing with you some of the statistics of from the practices that we've worked with over the years have found 60% continue services because they like the accountability and continuing education and training. 35% continue using tools on their own, but no longer need the hands-on help. We call that graduating or leaving the nest. And 5% determine that after the first year that they do not wish to continue working with us. So how can you expect this process to look, the engagement process, if you decide this is something that you're interested in? We'll hold an initial call with me to learn more about each other and conduct a little due diligence. You will learn more about what we do, and we can learn more about what you do. I'll then have enough information to put together a written proposal and quote, and then we'll follow up to discuss that proposal after it's been sent. Once you believe that this is the next best step for you in your practice, the relationship will begin, and we'll have a group interaction or introduction. Well, I'll introduce myself and my team and what you and your staff can expect. We will meet with each individual team member in your practice one-on-one. This will be through the onboarding process where we'll be assessing, preparing, and building so we can define those roles and make recommendations. We'll then come meet with you face-to-face and in-person implementation, which is typically 2 to 3 full days. And at that time, we'll be training. There will be no accountability during that launch, but we will be training you on the best practice systems and processes. We'll be discussing what your practice preferences will be so that we can customize the templates specific to your practice. When we go through those preferences, we will then update workflows to match your needs and integrate them into the practice. Begin integrating them into the practice. After the launch, we'll begin working together through the regular meetings that I just mentioned, through the weekly meetings and the monthly meetings. And over the course of 12 months, most offices say that it takes about 3 months to get the hang of the new systems. So you can see we have set up 3 stages over the next 12 months. That integration stage, where you'll really be just getting to know the systems. The next 3 to 6 months will be mastering those systems and processes. And the following will be a refining or continued education and growth stage. We wanted to share with you what you can expect based on a survey that we sent to our current clients, most recently here in April. 100% strongly agreed with this statement. I have seen clear improvements in organizations since working with KMG. 100% of staff members agreed with this statement that since working with KMG, I am able to add more value to my advisor's practice. And of the 8 areas evaluated, there were 4 at the top where a percentage of people felt it had been improved. You can see even though the top 4, organization, service quality, efficiency, and role clarity, were very close to that 100% mark, the other 4 areas did not fall shy of that, with a 90% of client service, 89% productivity, 85% communication, and 85% scheduling. So, how much does practice management cost? In a typical practice, you have an advisor and up to 3 staff members. With the subscription to the proprietary management system Connect, where I showed you we house your operations manual electronically, your model work weeks, roles and responsibilities, meeting notes and summary letters, the in-person training and implementation, weekly one-on-one meetings with each staff member and the advisor, ongoing monthly support for the entire practice, those continuing education opportunities with the collaborative learning series and 15.5. The cost is $2,500 per month and $300 for each additional team member. We spend, on average, 24 to 28 hours of support per month. So we're not just defining the systems and processes for you. We're actually working side by side with you and your staff, holding them accountable and continuing to train.
Dawn, could you clarify the $2,500 per month? How many people does that include?
Sure. There are, on average, 1 advisor and 3 staff members, and that can be an AFA, an administrative assistant, and a paraplanner. That can be 2 advisors and 2 staff. We've had it where it were all advisors and 1 staff with a few AFAs. So it's all-encompassing. Up to 4 staff members is encompassed through the $2,500 per month.
So 4 individuals, including the advisor, for $2,500. So if they have a team of, let's say, an advisor and 5 staff, they would be over slightly by 2 people, right?
Correct.
And so then it would be an additional $600 in that case?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So how practice management integrates with other key management group services, I'd like to show you next. All of KMG services are designed to seamlessly integrate together. So Tony started us off today with explaining the other services that Key Management Group has to offer, and some of you may already be participating in some of those services. So thinking about selling your practice in the next 5 years, we can help get you organized. The practice management department and team will work with you to get you organized so that your practice is worth more. Some of our clients already have an executive coach and are looking for more of a hands-on approach while working with their staff. And then as we work together to define your processes, for example, the client meeting preparation process, if we find that through what we recommend as best practice, you could leverage your staff in a different way, outsourcing may be an option for you, both for the financial planning and the client meeting preparation. I wanted to introduce you to my team. This team of 6 is the team that will be working with you and your staff through those weekly and monthly meetings. And you can see there that we wanted to share with you all of Key Management Group as well. A few testimonials. I won't read through them all, but wanted to share the question to the advisors that we've asked in the past: what changes have you seen after implementing KMG's practice management? The practices efficiently that removed me from much of the daily operations, back to that bricklayer to architect that Tony was referring to. growing a sense that there will be an entity in place after I am no longer around. And some of the staff members' testimonials, I cannot say it enough. I love the trackers. The workflows and efficiencies put in place greatly improve our capacity levels. I cannot imagine our office without the help of KMG. So now I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Tony.
Great, thank you, Dawn. So if you want to learn more about what we have to offer, number one, you can go to our website. You can see it's keymanagementgrp.com. The second thing I would suggest you do is you complete our online assessments. We have a quick assessment. You can reach it on every one of the pages of the website. And once you complete that, then we'll get a copy of that and we'll contact you as well. So the third thing would be to contact us for a free consultation. We'll be happy to talk to you about your specific situation. So what I'd like to do next, I'd like to open it up to some questions. You can see the contact information on the screen right now. And to ask a question, there's two things you can do. One is you can unmute your telephone line by dialing *6, or you can send us a message through the chat functionality at the top of your screen. So let me just pause here for a minute and see if we have any questions. All right, so we're prepared for no questions because oftentimes that's what we get. People are maybe a little shy. So we do have some commonly asked questions. So Dawn, what kind of advisors sign up for practice management?
Sure. Typically, in which I mentioned in the pricing, we find that the practice structure of the advisors that sign up are one sole practitioner and staff, 2 to 3 staff members. And I mentioned the point of departure, and if you refer back to that, at times there are a lot of questions from staff. What responsibilities do I need to hold myself accountable for? And is that something that Bobby should be doing in place of Sue? Clearly defining that and then holding them accountable to what's defined so that you don't have to, you as the practitioner. That's the type of advisor that would want to work with us.
I'll add to that. So generally speaking, we do work with some larger practices with more complexity. I think the more complexity there is in a practice, the more we can bring to the business in terms of removing some of the chaos and removing duplicity and filling the gaps that take place. I'll handle the next two questions. The first one is, do most advisors sign up for other services? The answer to that is yes. Very few of our clients are just using one of our services. The majority, if not over 90% of the people that are receiving our practice management services are also receiving our executive coaching. And some of them as well are using our outsourcing of financial plan production and client meeting prep. It really depends upon the number of people they have and what some of their needs are, but I would say the majority of our clients are using executive coaching and practice management. Regarding how long is our contract, the initial contract is for 12 months. And in terms of how long advisors stay engaged, it's actually quite some time. We still have a client from 2005, so he's been with us for 11 years. And, you know, Dawn talked about people after 12 months feeling that they've graduated. In some cases, they want to go off on their own, but they call us back and they say, you know what, we really need the accountability and the ongoing support because we stopped doing the things that were working well for us. So many of our clients are long-term clients, and sometimes we'll just adjust the level of support that they need based upon their current readiness level. And then the last question I'll throw back to Dawn. Dawn, what would you say the difference is between KMG's practice management and some of the home office training, like home office training?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So with the home office training, we don't want to recreate the wheel. So our systems have been designed around what home office is already providing you. With the videos that home office provides, we expand on those. So we take the training that home office provides, and then we work with each other to define your practice preferences. How can you take what home office assists you with the templates that they provide, and then match them closely to your preferences? By taking those, we'll define that for you, putting together that online operations manual, and then holding your team accountable to what you have decided. So we really are working more hand in hand with you through interaction, through one-on-one interaction, the training and accountability, as well as through our Connect software.
Great, thank you, Dawn. And do we have any questions from the callers? All right, well, at this time then we're going to wrap up. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day today, and I would encourage you to go to our website to learn more about what we do and to take our quick practice assessment. And you can feel free to contact either Dawn or I. You can see our email addresses at the bottom of the screen, or you can contact us at our 1-800 number, 888-848-3349. With that, I want to wrap up. Again, thanks for attending today's webinar.